Nelson Mandela Bay Metro is set to become South Africa's first big city to run out of water. The metropolitan area of under 1.3 million people comprises of Gqeberha, Kariga and Dispatch. With less than 20 days of water available, the city has warned water for drinking, washing, flushing toilets and fighting fires will be severely limited. Joining us now for more of an update on the looming crisis in Nelson Mandela Bay, Water Distribution Director Joseph Tsatsire. Joseph, good evening and thank you very much for your time joining us tonight here on In Focus. I do believe there have been some rain that happened in the last couple of days, but of course not enough for the kind of relief that is sought. So where does that put the metro at this particular point in terms of day zero?
Good evening, Thabo. Good evening to your viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, currently the metro's combined dam level is sitting at 12.34% as of Friday. Obviously, we have received some sort of rainfall over the weekend. Obviously, from our catchment areas to the western side of the city, we are just still waiting for up until tomorrow to see the effect of that rainfall. But I think what I need to assure residents is that, we are not out of the woods yet. As you know, our dam still remains very low. We are talking of about, just under 30 days, for some areas, about 40% of the city to be running dry. And, this is a crisis point for the city.
Yeah. So we had a conversation last week with some of the crisis committee members. We also had the Human Rights Commission in the province. There are, of course, reports that, for example, National has withdrawn money from the metro because the metro, or the mayor at least, refused to engage with a letter that was sent to her by Treasury at National. I mean, how true are these claims? And what could be the reason that would lead the mayor not to engage with that communication?
Thabo, the metro has been quite receiving, support from various, national governments, departments, including the National Water and Sanitation COPTA, as well as, the National Treasury. As part of the technical team, we had, technical support from what we call City Support Program. They had actually deployed, technical experts into the city to assist, with water demand management expertise. Unfortunately, their contracts came to an end. And obviously, there is allegedly, reports that, the mayor has actually received, corresponding to that effect. And I think the mayor has actually taken it up with the deputy minister to clarify the issues. And hopefully that will probably see the continuity of the support that the city requires.
Yeah. So this support, they say, is not monetary, but it's technical assistance. So the Treasury is saying they've assembled a team of international and national technical experts to assist the metro. Have these people navigated their way to the metro to assist with the drought crisis?
Yes, Thabo, I've been personally working with some of these experts for over a year. They have been deployed into the city. And we were actually providing, that, technical assistance in the areas, where we thought, probably we were lacking. We have also been doing benchmarking with other cities as well, including City of Cape Town, and other international cities that has gone through drought, to ensure that, we align our interventions and ensure that, we customize them to this environment and ensure that we avoid day zero. So I have been personally working.
Yeah. So give us then one or two things, key top priorities that are an attempt by the metro to deal with this crisis.
So obviously from a drought intervention perspective, there are two main areas which we're looking at. The first one is, the water demand reduction. That means that, we needed actually to reduce our water footprint from about 278 megaliters on a daily basis to actually around 230. So there were quite a number of initiatives. One, from a communication point of view, there was quite an intense, and galvanized communication to all stakeholders to ensure that they are aware of the situation. The second aspect was that actually to implement physical restriction, to consumers to ensure that, there is a reduction of water consumption. And this entailed actually installation of what we call water demand management devices on each and every domestic metered connection in the city to ensure that, we regulate, the water to an acceptable threshold of 50 liters per person per day. And this would actually then ensure that, we reduce demand. The second aspect is water augmentation schemes. There's quite been investment over the past years, since 2010, to actually augment and devise our water mix to ensure that we actually insulate ourselves from drought. And some of those actually include, the drilling of bores to ensure that, at least we have got another source of water that is not surface water that will be able to insulate us from drought. Plus or minus 45 megaliters will be realized by these schemes as of, August, September this year. And this will be actually be injected into the grid. There's been also an Newzroom Phase 3 that was actually the increase of the treatment capacity of a treatment plant to get water from the Orange River system, to increase it to about 210 megaliters on a daily basis. And this actually going to actually give much needed relief and injection of water into the system. Yeah. And these are some of the interventions which have been actually been discussing and being actually done by the Metro to ensure that, we mitigate drought.
All right. Let's talk about this device management system that you have installed to restrict physical restriction of water from the consumers. So consumers, something that really dumbfounded us when we were talking to them. The Water Crisis Committee says a truck of officials from the Metro would be driving in an area and there would be a leaking pipe. And they would say to them, well, here's a pipe that is leaking. You are losing water here. Never mind the 50 liters that you want to restrict consumers. And the officials there said, no, you have to first lodge a complaint at the Metro. They did nothing about a leaking pipe and drove away.
But there's been quite a lot of work that has gone into improving efficiencies in our water value chain. And among other things is actually to streamline our processes. If that ever has happened, obviously it's something that we have to look into. But I think there's quite a lot of effort and energy that has gone in streamlining our process to ensure that, we fix leaks quicker. And I think as a result of some of those streamlined processes, we are managing to do plus or minus 1,000 leaks, on a weekly basis. And I think we continue to improve where we have found wanting. Obviously, I think we rectify. With the help of the communities, we encourage them as well to report some of those inefficiencies, as well as report leaks, to ensure that we actually continue, to reduce, leakages.
How much of it? In other words, is there something that prohibits those who work for the Metro to be proactive in fixing leaks? Or is the reference number of a resident that has complained much more important than dealing with the problem that you see on the ground?
No, Thabo, we have got now devised quite a number of platforms to actually reduce leaks. We also have got an app on our normal, Android or, phones, where we can actually log a complaint and ensure that, the Metro knows about it. But we also encourage residents to communicate leak to their ward councillors, or as well as, go to any municipal depot close by and report those leaks. We have also employed the services of water ambassadors to actually walk the streets and identify some of these, leaks and ensure that, we send teams timelessly to deal with some of those leaks. As I say, I think we continue to invest time to improve our, processes and ensure that, we gather as much, leaks as we can and ensure that we deploy teams to actually deal with them.
How much would you say currently is the amount of water that you're losing to leaks, right? For example, we've seen pictures from a flooded street in Motherwell, NU9, which has been leaking for some days now. And they're saying, well, I mean, these are kilometers and kilometers of water that is being lost before it even gets to the house. Why is there water gushing out there on that particular street? Then people are living in a puddle of water that is not being sorted out.
Well, probably you would be the first one to understand that, leaks is part of the maintenance regime of any infrastructure. I mean, every metro across the city, across the country, has to deal with leaks on a day-to-day basis. Because of old infrastructure, and other operational issues, we have to deal with leaks on the day-to-day basis. And I think we also rely on communities to report them often, and we deal with them. Obviously, there are isolated ones that actually has fallen through the cracks. And I think I will be the first one to say that where we have found wanting, we actually need to do better and ensure that, we streamline those processes. Yeah. We have now, added, services of external service providers to ensure that, we reduce our turnaround times in dealing with leaks.
How many? Give us a picture. How many plumbers have you hired recently? Because it's clear what the problem is. We are lacking plumbers to come and reduce these leaks. How many plumbers have you brought on board to assist you?
Currently, our internal teams, we have got 39 teams that are responsible for the metro, and we have added again 7 what we call cluster contractors. That has got various teams of plus or minus 4 on them to actually assist us in dealing with leaks.
Okay. Talk then about the treatment capacity project that you're talking about in the water augmentation schemes. How long are these programs going to be brought online?
So the treatment, let me start with one of the boreholes which we have sunk almost 2 years ago. We actually started, drilling those boreholes. And because, the water had got iron and manganese, we are actually building a treatment plant to be able to remove, iron and manganese. And actually that will be actually coming through, in August this year. And it's going to give us 15 megaliters on a daily basis. As I said, we have got other sets of bore as well that we started in July last year. It again is going to come actually around September this financial year. September this year. And again, it's going to give us 30 megaliters combined. And all these bores we're going to actually inject into the system around that time, and they're going to give us the required volumes that we might be able to mitigate drought. We must also add that the Noika drug treatment works. It's a project that has come plus or minus 2-3 years ago, and again it has been actually brought online by June by end of June this year. We'll be finishing actually testing and actually commissioning that plant, and it's going to give us a total of 210 megaliters on a daily basis. So I think all these resources going to actually add water into the system. We will not have a total day zero in the city as it's being reported, but obviously some parts of the city that are not actually fed from those resources will suffer.